The Floor Academy podcast is sponsored by Trelama, the trade labor marketplace, where businesses can find skilled trade labor, such as flooring installers, and where flooring installers and other skilled tradespeople can find permanent or project work. You can set up your profile at trelama.com, TRALAMA.com, or download the app from the Apple App Store or Google Play. And remember, Trelama is always free for skilled tradespeople. Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Hadeen, owner of Illustrious Hardwoods in Phoenix, Arizona. We are here to talk with flooring professionals from all across the country about the issues that matter to you. This week's guest is Josh Hansman. Josh is an amazing craftsman in the sand and finish side of the hardwood flooring world. We talk about why he enjoys being an employee instead of running his own show and how we can attract others like him to our company. Listen in as we discover what needs to change in this industry to entice loyal, hardworking employees. Josh Hansman, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Why don't you introduce yourself? Give us a little background, where you been, and kind of how you got to where you are now.
All right. Well, like you said, my name is Josh Hansman. I'm in the Cincinnati area, and I think for me to really start, I got to go back to when I was 12 years old. That's when it all started for me. My dad was a building manager downtown Cincinnati for a warehouse that leased out office spaces. He got me in there at 12 years old, $2 an hour, watering flower, pulling weeds. It was a big office warehouse, and so that's what I did. Like I did that for summers, and I worked there for 12 years. But being so. The building was an office warehouse, and they would just always have turnover, new offices coming in, going out, and there was always build-outs going on, like, you know, building new office spaces, walls, drywall, and paint, and all that. So I would always go to work, water the flowers, pull weeds as fast as I could. The flowers always died every year. And then as soon as I got done watering them, I'd run inside to the build-out, and I would, like, hang out with the guys doing the work. You know, like, let me hang some drywall, you know, let me nail them studs up. And that's, doing that, I got in trouble all the time. My dad would always catch me and be like, you need to go outside, you know, like, you can't be in here. But, that's when I fell in love with just doing trades. Like, it didn't matter what it was. I loved building stuff, and I loved being part of it. So eventually I didn't have to water flowers because, like I said, I worked there for 12 years, so through high school and summers, a few years after high school. And then, so I got a background doing framing, drywalling, finishing, painting, trim, hanging doors, all that.
Okay.
So, like, for me, it started off just overall construction more than just floors. So, then around like 23, 24, after 12 years there, you know, change of scenery, I ended up quitting, and I kind of floated around. I got a job being a personal handyman for a guy for like 6 to 8 months, which was really weird. He had a bunch of rental properties, so I would like do painting and stuff for him, build a deck. He had a nightclub. We did remodeling in this nightclub. It was kind of weird. Just go to work for this guy and he paid me cash. And like I said, I did that for like 6 to 8 months. Then I went and did siding for like 6 to 8 months. Realized I didn't like heights. So I had a buddy from high school, and he at the time was doing floors, and I had to beg him. I literally begged him, like, let me come do this with you. So he got me in there, that business. And I went to work for a company out of Cincinnati, just a small company. And I remember, like, it was probably within the first month there, sitting in the office, and I look over, I see a magazine, Hardwood Floor magazine, and it happened to be Wood Floor of the Year edition that month. So I started flipping through it, and it's like my eyes just got big. I was like, man, these floors are amazing. You know, like I was like, this is cool, because doing floors, you get a wow factor. Like if you're hanging drywall or even painting, like there's no wow factor. If you do a good job hanging drywall or doing siding, the only thing that makes it a good job is it don't look like a bad job. But
yeah,
when you're doing floors and you can actually like throw some art into it and do something neat, then you got that wow factor, and you just get more of a sense of accomplishment and a little bit more satisfaction out of it. So
totally.
I really fell in love with it. I fell in love with it so much right then. So I worked for that guy for about 6 years. I ended up getting fired. I think I got mouthy, said something I shouldn't have said, so it was time to go. And then that's when I went out on my own. I went around. That was like 2008, so it wasn't a real good time. I went around to every company in Cincinnati. I just went through the phone book, went to every flooring company, filled out applications, can I have a job? I talked to people, I called them, couldn't get a job doing floors. I'm like, come on, man, somebody's got to do something. And then I found one guy that I got through a buddy from high school, and he kind of sent me in, said, go talk to this guy. I went and talked to him, and he's like, I'll hire you on, or you can come on as a sub. And I wasn't really familiar with subs and what they did and how they got paid, so I thought that was something different. And I was like, let's try this. So I ended up doing that for like 5 years. I mean, I was literally self-employed. Had to go out, get workman's comp and liability insurance, and taxes got real hard.
Yep.
And I did that. When I went to see the guy, I had basic construction tools. I had like air compressor, nail gun, saws, but I didn't have a flooring stapler. So I did a few inlays just on the side, just because throwing stuff together. So I made the guy an inlay of a Bengal tiger for the Cincinnati Bengals, and I traded him that for a flooring nailer so I could go out and sub-sending. So, I didn't have money to go buy a gun, and I was like, I can do this, so looked it together, and it would get me a flooring nailer and got me a couple jobs.
But that's ingenuity at its finest. That's the entrepreneurial spirit, is like, I have this skill and I can make this, and I'll trade it to get this other thing I need to make that work. Yeah. You put a post up about it the other day, and I was I was floored by it. Like, it's absolutely amazing. Like, that work ethic to take something and be creative and find a way to get what you need so you can survive. That's not something I don't think we're gonna see a lot out of like Gen Z and Gen Alpha, in my opinion.
That's how I've always been. I never grew up with like a lot of nice tools, even when I was buying stuff. I had kids kind of at a young age. In my 20s, I had 3 kids, and they kind of, they take up a lot of time and money.
A little bit,
but I still got by, and I would get what I needed, and what I didn't have, I would figure it out. If I don't have a hand planer, then I'm going to stack a bunch of boards together and throw the edger on it or something. I would figure out a way to do whatever I wanted. I never let that be an excuse that, I can't make that because I don't have this tool. No, that ain't going to happen. If I want it, I'm going to figure it out.
So you were subbing for him. I mean, you got your stapler and you start subbing for him.
Okay. And then somewhere around that time, I don't know when it was, but there was another guy that worked for the company. The guy that got me the job originally for the company that I started from, he ended up getting fired. And I was like, dude, you should come do this with me. Like, it's pretty good. It ain't bad. And so he ended up joining me, and me and him were working together. We went back to the guy that we worked for, called him up, said, look, we know that you're only half the size you were because you fired 2 guys and you only had 4 guys. That means you got extra equipment. Why don't you sell us some equipment? And he did. He ended up selling us a van full of sanding equipment, and he even threw in a couple jobs that we subbed from him. So it's kind of weird, like full circle, like you fired us, but you know, we still want to work for you.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up getting along with him, and it was good. And then he ended up going out of business a few years after that, and we had all of his contacts because we knew all the guys. So we ended up picking up like his designer and a bunch of his remodelers. So we stayed busy. Like we get our own jobs, but then we'd get a lot of jobs from those guys too. So it was legit. It wasn't a lot of work. It didn't really bother me going out doing estimates or nothing. For me, I got nervous. Like we did this for, I think, about 5 years. We did this, and we never had downtime. Like we worked every day. We had a backup company, Flooring Window Coverings, which is the company that I work for now. And whenever we got slow, we called them up, and they would always have work for us.
Okay.
I ended up looking at our books, and I started thinking, I'm like, 50% of our work comes from that guy alone, you know? So I was like, you know, he's got plenty of work. And then I started getting nervous. Like, what happens when I get hurt? Like, even if I just, like, fall down and sprain my ankle or something, and I can't push a drum for a week, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be out of work for a week. And it scared me a lot. And I got nervous about, we never did have a job fail, but that was always in the back of my mind. What happens if a job fails and we have to do a complete redo? We're going to be out the money to do the job, and we're going to be out the money and the time that it takes to redo it. So it just kind of freaked me, just being one guy by myself, not being a whole company. Like, if I go down, there's nobody to back me up and, you know, keep things going. So I told him, I was like, look, you know, I can't do this no more. I got to go find something stable and something that, you know, security.
Mm-hmm.
So I called up the guy that we were subbing from all the time, which is where I work now, and went and met with him. And, I mean, it was sweet. I mean, he was sitting there talking to me, telling me I get a van and a credit card and pools and vacations. And I'm like, yeah, I like all this. So let's do it. And I joined him. I've been working for him for, I think, around 5-6 years now. And I'll tell you what, the first 13 years of my career, I think was elementary. Like, everything was really just basic building blocks, just really easy stuff. When I went to work for him, he was like, I want you to go get certification. He sent me to, first place I went was Burner Training, and we went to their 4-day class down in North Carolina. And I sat through that class, and I was like, oh my gosh, you know, like, all the stuff that I wasn't doing right, I found out. And then all the stuff that I did right, I found out the reason why you have to do that. Because I didn't do everything wrong, just some of it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, like, it's weird because I was doing it for 13 years in one of the schools that I really, I mean, it was just like an energy drink, man. I soaked it up, and I was like, afterburner. And then started doing NWFA schools after that. Got all my certifications for sand and finish install, and then he actually sent me to get a hardwood floor inspector also, which we got that just as a credibility. I'm not an active hardwood floor inspector. A lot of people get mad when they call and want me to do inspections, and we tell them no. But if I start doing inspections, then I couldn't be laying floors. And, that's where I'm at right now. That's what I want to be doing. So it's so much fun for me. I love every minute of it.
Well, I mean, being able to take like a raw piece of wood and turn it into a beautiful floor that's just something special in and of itself. Man, it's really interesting because obviously, I mean, you listen to the podcast, so you know that generally we're here and we're saying you need to run your own business and we want you to be more profitable and you need to learn how to do this, that, and the other thing. And here you are as a guy advocating like, hey, it's okay to be an employee. And honestly, we need that. Like all these guys that want to build up businesses, you're going to need worker bees because that's one of the biggest complaints I always see on why guys give up on training people. Oh, they leave. Oh, they leave. They quit. It's too hard to train them. No one ever sticks around. No one blah, 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 blah. There's going to be guys that come and go. There's going to be guys that stay. But like you said, you were offered a credit card, a van, vacation.
Yep.
You got a 401k plan on that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, he matches it. So,
you know, like these are all benefits that I can go to McDonald's and get. Not the credit card in the van, but you know what I'm saying. Like I can go work another job. And so when we're offering these young kids $12 an hour, $15 an hour, but nothing else other than, hey, it's hard.
well,
What
you're
not selling anything.
You're missing one thing that he's offering me, and that is the opportunity to do something that I enjoy doing. And, you know, I guess that's something you got to find in the people that you're hiring. Like, if they don't like doing it,
Mm-hmm.
then it's going to be hard to keep them around. And I think he's got lucky because I do enjoy doing it, and I think that I'm lucky because I get paid to do what I like doing. So it's a good deal.
It's a match made in heaven. But you were, you know, you're 100% correct. We have to find something they can enjoy in it when we're looking to hire people. I agree. I just did an interview with a young man named Dakota Franklin, and he kind of hit on the same point. Like, I enjoy what I do, and so I'm happy to do it for someone else and learn and get that opportunity. But you know, you were looking for something a little more stable, somebody else to go and carry the overhead and the weight and the insurances, and like you didn't want to deal with that. I don't want to call it a nightmare. It can be sometimes, but that load of stress is what I'll say. Like you wanted to be able to clock in and clock out and say, okay, I'm done now, and I don't have to answer the phone, and I don't have to do this, that, and the other thing. So how is that like played out? How is that, you know, what are the benefits you see now versus like when you were subbing and trying to find your own work versus like you can clock in at 9 and you clock out at 5 and that's that.
Well, you know, that's a little backwards though. When I was on my own, I was able to take my kids to school, and then I was there every day to pick them up at 3:30. So like, and that was getting by. That was doing jobs and getting by. And, now, like I'm going in at, if I can go in early, I'll go in early, but usually my day starts at 7:30. And then I usually work till like 5 or 6. So I'm working more now than I did then, but, I don't think I have to. Like, I'm only required to work 40 to 45 hours, but I don't know. I enjoy work, and I like getting jobs done, and I like it when we tell the homeowner we're going to get the job done at this time, and I go and get it done. It gives me pleasure. I enjoy doing that. I enjoy making them happy, knowing that the job's done when it said it was going to be done, and everything looks good. So I actually work more now than I did on my own. But
well, I mean, you say that,
but I like working.
But well, okay, but you were working on the floor shorter hours, but you were still having to go out and do bids and do your books and follow up and order materials if you're doing like there's it sounds like there's work you're probably not counting into it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there would be some. I guess after I got back home, then I'd have to sit down and, you know, add up some estimates and get them sent out. But I mean, it wasn't really. I didn't think it was that bad as far as, but that's one of the things that bothered me. I always wanted to work more. Like, I know
you're broken, Josh. You're
it's not right.
No, it's good.
Right.
I would love to do. Do you want to come to Arizona? Because I will hire you right now. I will pay you whatever you want.
I know. And that's a funny thing, because I got guys that when I was out looking for jobs, that didn't hire me, I ran back into them, and now they know me, and they're like, you can come work for us now and stuff. And they don't remember me then because I wasn't anything, but it's redemption. It feels kind of good that to be wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the question?
Well, I mean,
I missed it.
Sell me on being an employee. Because honestly, like, look, not everybody is meant to run a business. Not everybody has the dedication to, like, a lot of us have the dedication to learn the craft. Okay. And you're really, really good at the craft. But being good at the craft doesn't transfer to running a successful business. And so there's a lot of flooring businesses that, in my opinion, shouldn't exist. There's guys running them, and they're okay, but they could be better if somebody that was business minded was in charge of them. So there's guys out there that love what they do, like you, and just want to be able to show up and make a decent buck. So, how do we find those guys? How do we get them involved? What, in your opinion, your estimation, because you're in that situation,
You can't. You just can't. Like, I'm in that same situation too, because we've been looking for people since I've been working for this guy to work. And he's been with us for, I think, 3 years, and he's good. The younger kid, and he catches on, and he's been with us and loyal, and like, he does good work. But other than him, we've been through so many people, and they just line up and not just run over all of them, and like, some of them will work a week, some of them will work a day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know the answer. I wish I did, because we want some too.
There's got to be a way to show guys, like, look, man, you can work less hours. You'll make the same amount of money you do now. Because in my opinion, if you're running your own company as a flooring contractor, there's no reason you should make any less than 6 figures a year. In my estimation, in most, like, major markets. There's going to be some other areas in the country, I get that if you're like rural somewhere in the South, land is super cheap and you can get by on a little bit cheaper median income. But most major metropolitan areas, I would say you should be able to pay yourself $100,000 a year or more. So if I'm taking on all the responsibility, then how do I get somebody to agree to 60, 65, 70 maybe? If they're running a crew and taking care of it, and they're producing work all day, every day, and that's the thing, is like, how do you get this guy out of the mindset where he's only making 60 a year, but you can give him 60 to 70 plus benefits and do it,
Well,
right?
You're giving more than just money. You're giving, you're essentially taking all the stress off of them. You're giving them security, but people don't see that. People don't realize it. I'm kind of happy that I'm doing just what I want to do, and that's the flooring part. I don't mind going out and doing estimates. I don't want to do them for a living. I don't want to be a salesman.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for me, I'm happy that I get to do what I want to do, which is hands-on. And I think that's what these younger guys, I think that's what they need to see, is that, you don't just look at the final product. You don't just do the job and then look at it and be like, look how pretty this is, because the final product is just the tip of the iceberg. All the gratification in the job comes through the process, which is all underwater. Nobody else gets to see that unless you're one of the guys doing it. And if you get to see the process step by step and watch it evolve and grow into what the final product is, then you kind of get some appreciation for it. Then you take appreciation in the work that you're doing. Hopefully you build a love for it. And then that's where you can build that relationship between what you're doing and, hopefully what you enjoy doing. And, you're kind of being a nurturer because you're helping that floor start to finish grow into what it can be. Mm-hmm. And if people can see that, then I think that they could grow to love it. And then if they love it, then they enjoy doing it, because that's what's important. I always grew up that if you're going to do something, you got to do something you love. You can't do a job that you make a lot of money at and hate that job. You're not going to be a happy person. You're going to live miserably.
Yeah.
So, first and foremost is you got to love what you do.
Well, can you teach that love, or do they have to innately have it within them and not? Obviously, someone's not going to know they love doing hardwood floors off the bat. But do you think you can teach that love, or is that something that they're just going to have inside themselves because they like working with things?
I think it's something that they have to have by themselves, but you can show it to them, and a lot of people learn from example. And if they can see how much you appreciate it and love the process, then they're going to try to mimic that, and they're going to follow you in that manner. Whether they're good at it or not, that's up to you to teach them. But at least, you go in with a positive attitude, and maybe that can be duplicated through them, and then maybe that can turn into something. But it's all maybes.
No, I'm with you. I mean, I think you can teach passion, but it's through you can demonstrate it, and it can be addictive. Like you can
Yes.
get somebody to want to have that, but they have to find it within themselves. So you can you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink.
Yeah, and one of the ways of doing that is just not being miserable at work. Like, don't go to work and it comes time to scrape corners, and you just sit there and say, "Oh, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks," because then they're going to see you saying, "This sucks, this sucks, this sucks," and then when it's their turn to scrape corners, you already know what they're going to say because they're copying what you said. Mm-hmm. So, you scrape a corner and be like, "Oh man, that looks so good,"
It's the little things, right? It's the little things.
Kind of, yeah. I kind of experimented with that. Earlier we were talking about B&I, and I ended up getting a role as door greeter at my B&I group, where I had to go down in the morning, and as people came in, I would hold the door and greet them. Mm-hmm. And when I first started doing it, people would come in, they're like, "Oh, how you doing?" I'm like, "I'm here." It's early, I'd be miserable and stuff. And then I started thinking, I was like, I'm the first person people see when they come in. I'm going to do a little experiment. So every time somebody would come in, I would always try to smile, and I would try to say something above and beyond just, "I'm doing good." Like, "How you doing?" I'd be like, "I'm excellent. Today's the best morning ever." I would always say something to try to pick up their spirit. Yeah. And then I kind of felt like it would change the whole attitude of the meeting that morning. And I think that's what you got to do with your work. You got to have a positive attitude and try to push that on them more than them learning what they have to do.
So go ahead.
That's how it works for me. The only reason I'm in the position that I am now is because I love doing it. Mm-hmm. I can't say that enough, so maybe that's what you got to push on people more than the actual skill is the love and passion for it.
Well, so if we're gonna push love and passion and get people excited about what they're doing, and we're making it a fun workplace, and we have a good company culture, do you think people are more likely to stick around at that point, and that we could actually get employees to buy into, we're all in this together, we can all grow and make more as long as we're all working towards the same common goal?
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, raising the bar is always a goal. I agree with that. Like, raising the bar across the entire industry is a goal. And I think part of that has to come with positivity and, like, enjoying what you do and not sit there and, say how miserable it is. Because, I've worked with a lot of guys that would be like that. Like, they wouldn't want to edge because edging, they just want to drum. And you got to do all of it. You can't just pick and choose, and you can't just do all of it. You have to enjoy doing it all, and you can't let it get to you. You can't get your head down. You got to just keep going and eyes on the prize.
Well, and so what if your eyes are on the prize? What is the prize for Josh, and why is the prize as 40 to 45 hours a week with a van and a credit card and 401k plan? How is that your prize, and how is it accomplishing getting you where you want to go? Like, what? I mean, I know you said you didn't see the picture working out for you, if I get hurt or, I don't find a job and I'm just sitting around. Like, I get that. I mean, we all kind of have those worries anyways. Even as an employee in this business, that can happen. Like, it can just get slow. But how does being an employee help Josh get to his end goal?
I don't know. I don't know what my end goal is. So I ideally, like, I just keep doing, I stay where I'm at right now, but I know, that this is my current goal right now, is just doing this and, getting to do some fun floors every now and then on the side, just anytime.
Mm-hmm.
Cause that's fun. That kind of reignites the spark and love for it sometimes when you get to do something fun and different. But, currently I don't have a goal. My goal is just to keep going forward, but I have a time limit. I know that. As far as body goes and stuff. But, I really don't have a plan or a goal or nothing. It's just, this is what I'm doing right now, and I'm happy with it.
Okay. That's fair. You're look, man, you're paying bills. You got kids that are fed. You got a roof over your head, and you don't have a kitchen, but I mean, you got a roof, so you're doing all right.
Yeah. You're right.
If anybody hasn't seen Josh's pictures of the floor he's putting in his house, go look up Josh Hansman on Facebook and go find the pictures of the floor in his house, because it's absolutely gorgeous. And go find the tree he did in the house he put for his grandfather, because that work was phenomenal as well. You say you get to play, like, on your own time, so you're still doing little side work here and there. Like, you're not just locked in at the flooring company.
Well, I don't really have time for side work. I do have a deal with the company that I'm working for, that if I do side work, it's just for family, if that comes up. So, I really don't go pursuing side work. The couple jobs that I have, like I said, is my aunt and uncle's house, and then my own house.
Mm-hmm.
Those were done on the side, or they were not done through the company. But I mean, that's really the only exceptions that I get. And, it works out for me that way too, because I get approached all the time, and it's nice to be able to say I'm not allowed to, rather than I don't have the time or I don't want to.
Yeah.
So it kind of gives me an out on that too. I get approached a lot to do side work, and it's like, I could do it, but I can also go to work and get time and a half and not have to worry about something going wrong on your job and still make more money doing time and a half. So, for me, it just don't work out that way.
It makes more sense to send it through the company and get paid that way instead of trying to do something in the evenings and have it take longer.
And that's what I was referring to the company, and I say, if you want me to do the work, call the company and request that I come do the work. You might have to wait a little bit longer to get on the schedule if you request me, but at least that way that I'm still the one doing the work.
Yeah.
And then, doing it through the company, I don't have to. It eliminates the stress of anything going wrong or time trying to schedule it and stuff like that. So
yeah, I think that's fair. It's great to see loyalty like that instead of trying to make a bunch of cash on the side on your own and you're asking to borrow tools or something like that. Because then what happens? What happens if you ask to borrow the drum sander and then you're on that side gig at night and you bust it and now you got to go back to work during the day and you don't have a drum sander for the project?
Well, that was one of the things that made me nervous when I was on my own too. It's you're one guy or two guys and you have one sander. What happens when that sander goes out? What happens when your van goes out? Because at that point we were driving POSs, and so there was a lot of work that had to be done on the van to keep them running sometimes, and it just got old. It's like I just want to do floors. I don't want to stress about tools breaking or having to go buy the newest, latest thing or work on the van. So it really just freed up. It didn't free up time, but it freed up my mind, and it just gave me security.
No, I get it. You probably sleep a little better at night, huh? You don't wake up at 2 a.m. thinking about what you have to go buy at like the box store in the morning and how am I going to start this job and do this, that, and the other. Like, oh my gosh, never stops.
No, that still gets me. I still sweating jobs still get to me because I still care about the job that I'm on. So like, if it's running behind schedule, it makes me nervous. If something ain't going right and I know there's issues on the job, I fall asleep thinking, "Ooh, I got to get up early so I can go to the distributor to get this, and we can fix that." And so I still carry that load, but I don't have to carry the other load. Like I know there's money in the bank to go to the distributor. I know that's theirs now. So
yeah.
So
that's you got a different mindset, man. It's so impressive that there's every company needs a Josh. That's what every company needs. How do we duplicate you?
I was thinking about this today, and I was thinking if a company is a car, I'm the engine. I'm only one part of the car, but I'm a valuable part. But I have one central job to do, and then there's other parts around me, like the people that do the scheduling, administration, and estimate and sales. They're all each parts too, and I kind of like being part of that team. I don't want to be the person that overdoes everything. I just want my part, and that's how I got it right now.
No, that's a very mature way to look at it. You're not looking to get all of the credit. You are one part of the machine, and you make it. You do your part, and the rest of, as long as everything else functions properly, then it all rolls forward and gets to where it needs to go. And I think there's not enough people that are looking at it that way. There's too many, like I said, that everyone wants to go out on their own because all they see is the paycheck. They see that big check sitting on the counter waiting to go to the owner. But what they don't see is all the stuff coming out of it. They don't see that the taxes get matched on employees. They don't see the payroll cost at the bookkeeper. They don't see that you have to pay the accountant. They don't see the rent bill and the AC bill and the utility bills and all, for the showroom and everybody else's paychecks. They just see that big fat check sitting there and they're like, wow, he gets all of that. No, you don't. And so, you can't be that team player when you're just after the payday. Like, it's not going to work. And you've let that go. You don't need the big piece of the pie. You just need a piece of the pie, and you're able to make it work.
Let me tell you something about that big check. I remember those days when that big check would come, and it would come maybe every 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, like if you got on a big job, you're like, oh man, this is a big job. We're going to make tons of money on this job, but that job takes 3 or 4 weeks to do. That's, 3 or 4 weeks. You're not getting a check. You're not getting a check till that job's done. So
yep.
Yeah, that big check, it's nice when you see it, but, waiting all that time before it comes, that part really, really sucks. And that's the other part that I really like about working for this guy. My check is in the bank every Friday. I don't have to worry. I don't have to worry about, figuring out ways to pay this or that until that check gets there. It's always there every week. So that was a big one for me too. I really like that part.
It's definitely simpler when you don't have to sit there and figure out how much you made and how much expenses there were, and now I got to I got to set taxes aside over here and hold on to that money, and then you see this bank account growing, and you're like, man, that's a lot of money in there. I could go buy a vehicle, and then you're like, no, that's tax money. I can't touch that. Not until the tax man I figure out how much the tax man needs.
And that first year that I went to work for the company I'm at now, we were like, tax time comes. It's like, you know what? We can get a TurboTax. I don't have to go I don't have to go see my tax guy anymore because this is easy to do this,
Yep.
So that was a nice part also, is getting away from having to go visit the tax guy and turning all your receipts and telling this and that and figure out expenses and, oh man. Yeah. So that was another part that I really liked getting away from too, being able just and then not worry about if I owed or had to pay, or if I was, when I was self-employed, I don't think I was ever getting anything back. It was always, I don't remember. Sometimes I paid and sometimes I didn't. I know what I'm getting now, so it's better. I like it.
Well, and so you were talking about how you got to go and you were setting your own hours when you were on your own and you were working and you were able to pick your kids up and stuff. And now that you are working for your company, you work longer hours. But is that because your kids are older? Like, if you still needed to go pick them up every day at 3:30, could you do that?
Yeah, but I wouldn't be getting my hours then. So it worked out nice because my wife actually works for the school systems now. So, she's on the same schedule the kids are. So that kind of worked out for me there. I'm not close. Like, I live in Kentucky, but our business is in Ohio. So most of my work is probably anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes away. So it's not like I could just drop everything, take an hour and a half, 2 hours out of my day to go run home and run them somewhere or something. So, no, I couldn't do that now. But then, that's the way work days went. I was working with another guy, and he liked getting off early too. So, that kind of dictated that some also. And I wanted to work more.
Okay.
So I know who wants to work more, right?
I mean, I get it, man. I'm a workaholic. I went and I put in floors for 8 hours today, and here I am now recording a podcast with you, and I'm sure there's probably some paperwork I should catch up on, but we'll let that wait for the weekend.
This is funny.
So there's always something, right? There's a phone call to field. I mean, you get it. You were there. There's always something to be doing. And that's the problem. Yeah. And now you don't have all those little things. They add up, and you're like, it's just 5 minutes. It's 10 minutes. Oh, it's just this. You don't have to deal with those anymore. And so
No.
it's an interesting benefit when you're willing to lock in and say, I'm happy and content with this, and it's a fair deal because I'm not, you don't have to cover the floor if it fails. It's on the owner of the store. So no, you don't get to make $100 an hour anymore. That's not how that's going to work. So
yeah, the homeowners rarely get my phone number. So that's every now and then I will give them my number so I can like communicate with them of when I'm done and the house is locked up and all that. But very rarely. I mean, so if they have a problem, and like I do get calls every now and then, the homeowner will call me and be like, this ain't right, or you guys still have to come back and do this. And I just say, hey, will you please call the office and schedule it through them? And then I'm done.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
Yep.
But they have to. If I try to schedule it, then my schedule will conflict with what the office is scheduling, and it won't work. So that's the way it has to be done. I don't try to do that that's part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a nice part for me to be able to do that. I like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it just, like you said, it takes a level off. So you get to enjoy a little bit more, we've talked, I've seen you out there sitting and enjoying your beer and your neighbors are launching fireworks. So you get to enjoy some nice stuff by you. Just a good, relaxing evening.
It's good stuff.
So
but
go ahead.
I do have the next chapter in my life that, it's coming up, and I probably should worry about it more and try to figure out a plan for it. But, my boss ain't going to be around forever. He's getting to the time where he's getting ready to retire. So when he retires, then I have to figure out something. So he's proposed to me to take over the company and buy it from me. So I do have that as a possibility. So I could go back to that role, but this time be already an established company and have, a team instead of just being by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I don't do that, then I don't have a plan B. So,
I mean, you got that inspector certification.
That is a thing. Yeah. And, I've thought about that before, but and I know I can't do floors forever. I'm 42 now, so I mean I don't know how long my body will let me do floors. I feel great. I feel like I can keep up with somebody 20 doing floors, but I don't know how long that'll last.
Well, so you have an offer to run the business, but does that excite you? Because you've already stated, like, I love working on the floor. Like, you are passionate about doing the process of turning it into a finished product. Like, that's what gets you excited and motivated. It doesn't sound like you're going to be super excited to, like, go into an office and sit behind a desk and try and run the show, because otherwise you would be doing that right now.
If I did that, then I would have to find a Josh take my place.
Or can you buy the business and find someone to run the business size of things, and you get to go play in the field?
That's a possibility. But I don't know. Our business is bigger than what I am too. Like, so that our business does all surfaces. We use tile and carpet and hard surfaces.
Yeah.
And window coverings. Somehow that's thrown in there too. So there's a lot more to it than just hardwood. So there's a lot of stuff that I don't know because I really don't know anything about carpet. I try to watch the guys when they're in the warehouse and ask them questions and learn a little bit, but you only learn so much asking questions. So.
Man, what's the no? Fuzzy side up, right?
Right.
You just kick it in. You don't even have to stretch it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry
I
about
don't like
it.
that. I don't like that. I've done a couple carpet jobs because being in the floor business, you're taking out carpet all the time, and you always have a family member that's saying, "Ooh, if you pull up any carpet that's so good, you can come install it at my house." So, I've been in that situation, and I've actually seen some carpet. It's not pretty, but it's together. So, I've done enough to know that, carpet guys are pretty tough guys to be able to do that all the time.
They are. It's
I
fun.
appreciate
Yeah.
them because not me.
There is a special breed of guy that kind of falls into each category, whether it be, tile, hardwood, carpet. There's each category kind of has its own individual uniqueness to it. It's interesting to interact with everyone and see what makes them tick.
Right. Yeah. And it's more than just flooring though. That's all trades. And, that's something that as I get older, I try to become more cautious about. And that's, not trying to put down trades. Because I think in order to grow our trade and make our trade better, you got to do it all, across all trades. It's so, and I see posts about like drywall guys that come in and get stuff all over the floor. The rare electrician that cleans up after himself.
Yeah, I had that happen. It was great.
Yes. So it's like I really think that in order for us to raise the flooring industry, we have to do more than just the flooring industry. It has to be all trades have to be raised. Or we're going to fit in that category as just a trade. There's no way you're going to raise the flooring industry and people are going to be like, all floor guys are great, and not include other trades. I think the entire trade has to be raised, which it's a lot. But I think everybody can do that by just being more cautious and not putting down other trades.
I agree. It's frustrating. You get drywall mud all over and you get this, that, like being the floor guy, we are one of the last people in, and that does make it rough because everyone else gets to be kind of sloppy because what do they care? It's going to get fixed when the floor guy comes through. So I get their approach. And if you were in their boat, their shoes, you would probably be doing it the same way. You're not going to, if you're spraying a wall, why are you going to mask off the floor? It's going to have to get ground and clean before the floor goes down anyway. So just paint it and move on. It's faster for them. Aren't we always in a hurry for what's fastest for us and more productive? It's the same mindset. So you can't go do their job and then come back and complain. I've
been through it. I've done the jobs before, and because I came up before I was a floor guy. I did all that stuff, and I've been there. But I still walk into a job and I see like paint on the floor, and I immediately want to start bad mouthing the painter. And I think if you do that, then if anybody hears you bad mouthing them, then they're going to mimic that. And they're going to think the same thing. And I don't know how you not bad mouth them because they should put down drop cloths, but
yeah.
I don't know. I know paint, you can put down drop cloths and somehow paint gets under the drop cloth. It seems like it always happens.
Well, I mean, you're right. We need to elevate the level of all trades. There's plenty of, it's not just flooring that's become a commodity. The local handyman's going to paint. He's going to do light electrical. He's going to do light plumbing. He's going to go put his hands on anything that he can make a buck at. And then there's, in my state, we're required to be licensed contractors, and there's going to be guys that are going to be doing it unlicensed. That's their choice. If that's how they want to run their business and do things, that that's fine. There's plenty of guys that are, they say they have a company name, but it's not registered with the corporation commission, and so they advertise with the company name, but then when you have to write them the check, It's, hey, can you make it out to me personally? So
Yeah.
we got to raise the bar across the board to not have any of this stuff be a commodity, and we need to work together and really show that, you know, skilled trades, keyword skilled, requires skill, and we need to make them look sexy again. You know, the kids don't want to come and do them because they just see a bunch of broke people that complain about their back hurting all the time.
Right. Yeah, and that's true, because a lot of guys that do the trades are older guys, because we kind of missed a generation. A lot of kids were like told that they have to go to college and do some kind of tech thing, you know, and the trades kind of got pushed aside, and I think we skipped a generation. And now the only people that are doing trades are older guys with broke backs. So somehow that push has to be brought back to rekindle that in the young people to get it back, or else I don't know what's going to happen. Is it going to die off, or is there going to be just a select few that get to reap all the profit, you know?
It's going to be really profitable for a while, in my opinion, and then we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah, I guess if it does become just a few people doing it, it's going to become profitable, and then people are going to see that as profitable, and they're going to want to do it because it's profitable, not because it's a trade. And,
there's all kinds of problems. You're not going to win. That's the problem.
Yeah. So it's yeah. I don't know. I wish. I don't know. I see stuff, and I always think, like, why don't people think like I do? Why do I think? And I, you know, the way I think, the way you think, it's normal, right? And I wonder why everybody don't think like that. It amazes me, but.
Well, I think it's instilled in you, I think. I don't know that a lot of people, like, I don't know. For me, like, I want to work hard because my mom was a single mom making like $24,000 a year, raising two boys on her own. And
right.
Like, we had nothing. If I wanted something, all my friends would get like Super Nintendos for Christmas. If I wanted the Super Nintendo, I had to go or get a job and earn it. So,
yep.
You know, we were given a Nintendo for free as like little kids, and my next game system that I ever got was a PlayStation 2 that I bought myself. So I missed a lot of generations in there. Like, I played everybody else's, but man, I was still only rocking the Nintendo at my house. So,
yeah, I was right there with you. Where if I wanted something, it was something I had to go do, because I said 12. That's when I actually got a job, an hourly job.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I remember asking my dad for school lunch money. I think it was like 5th or 6th grade, and he gives me a paper route. So I was delivering door stores before 12 every Sunday in order to, you know, get some money so I could buy school lunch. I'm like, and I know my dad, he had money and he could buy my lunch, you know, for school, but no, it was like you have to go out there and earn it and do it. And man, I hated that job too. I hated delivering papers, but
yeah,
did it every week. Sometimes you got to do stuff you don't like to do. You just put your head down and get through it. And then once you get through it, then you realize, you know, hey, it wasn't that bad.
You know, I was doing the same thing. I had a paper route, and I was living in Chicago at the time, and I don't know, 11, 12 years old, dragging around papers in a sled in the snow to get them delivered in my neighborhood. It was miserable, but I made a couple bucks.
Yeah.
And I think that made a huge difference in me. Whereas I can see, you know, I've tried not to spoil my son, and I try and instill a work ethic in him, but I also don't want him to have to go through what I went through. So I'm trying, you know, here, man, you can have this. Well, why don't you come and do this? Nah, I don't want to do that. Nah, I don't want to, like, I'm trying to get him to work, but he doesn't want to. And so now that he's getting a little older, he's 10, like, I'm able to force it on him a little bit better. But I think a lot of kids miss that, and that's why we missed a generation, is everyone was like, oh, things are all right. Like, we'll just we want them to go to college. We want them to focus on education. They didn't have to provide for themselves as much. And so you just miss this whole boat. And that's where like this entitlement comes from. And I need to make six figures right out of college and not have to work my way up the ladder. That's not how it works. And so you have to be able to, I think there'd be more Joshes if people would have had more experiences of having to learn to provide for themselves and what it takes to make it happen. At the end of the day, you can't just run mommy and daddy's credit card through the processing device for the rest of your life. That's not doesn't teach you anything. You've got to understand what it takes to actually make a dollar and how far that dollar goes.
So, my daughter, she turns 17 here in July. She just got hired at Home Depot. It's 17. This is her third job. I think she's worked at GD Cupcakes, and then she worked at Target for a little while. So, it's kind of exciting that she's out there making money. So, I think it's
okay, so what's starting wage at Home Depot in your area? Do you know what they're going to start her at?
No, I don't. I know that when she was at Target, she was making really good money because that was back at Christmas, so it was seasonal. And I don't remember what she got there either, but it was more than, I think it might have been like $14 an hour.
Okay.
Which, that's above starting wage.
Well, so what's starting wage at your company? Like if your boss was going to hire a new dude, do you know what he would bring him on at? Like, 20-year-old kid?
Yeah. I really don't know. I don't know. I don't really try to pry and find that kind of stuff out. I know that some of it would reflect on what kind of experience he has. I would imagine it'd be like 15. And depending on the experience, now if he comes in where he's already got experience on floors, then we probably start him at a little bit higher and then run him on a trial period for a couple weeks and then see what's there,
Yeah. Well, and that's my point is that sounds like a fair wage to start. And it sounds like the guy that hired you, you got benefits once you were hired. You had some vacation time, things like that right off the bat. But how many of these smaller companies, I don't give Brad any vacation time. If I don't have work, you don't get paid. And that's, he gets paid time off. That's legally mandated by the state. Like if you're on payroll, you automatically acquire PTO. But I'm not offering him any kind of benefits or anything yet. And so I think a lot of there's no positive draw for someone to be an employee because these smaller companies don't offer any advantages to be an employee.
Well, yeah, I see kind of where you're coming at. I think, see, that's one of the things I don't worry about. I don't really know all that because I don't have to make up those rules.
Correct, but
my job is,
but it's like
my
I'm
job
saying,
is
you
to train
can.
them when they show up.
Well, no, I know, but what I'm saying is I can go across the street to the McDonald's right now, and I'm gonna get paid vacation.
Yeah, but
why do I want to work for the floor guy?
Are you going to get satisfaction from your job at McDonald's?
I understand. Okay, so we have something slightly different to offer, but no one's selling the satisfaction. When was the last time you saw someone advertise a hardwood floor job and say that it was extremely satisfying to put a smile on the homeowner's face when they see their floors transformed? It's always, this is hard work. You're going to sweat. You're going to hurt. You're going to be sore. It's not rewarding. It's not fun. Everyone sells it in every other way other than the fact that it is rewarding. Do they not? When was the last time you saw an amazingly written hardwood floor ad for a new apprentice?
Yeah. I mean, you look at bodybuilders, they do it. I mean, they go through it and they go through, and they don't get paid for that. They go through a lot of pain and suffering, because they have a goal set. But with floors, I guess you don't see it. I don't know. I guess I would say wood floor of the year magazine, wood floor magazine, wood floor of the year edition. Like, look through there, dude. You see those things? Man, that is awesome. And then you think, like, maybe I could do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that worked for me. That's what fired me up right from the beginning. But I that magazine, I also knew that I had the potential to do something like that. I think a lot of people open it up and they don't have that confidence.
Yeah.
So,
that's what I'm saying is no one's selling the fun side of this trade, though, of any of the flooring trade. It's your body's going to get beat up. You're going to get broken down. You're going to hurt. You're going to need knee replacements. Why?
I don't know. Yeah. The guy that I work with, we have fun every day. Like, we'll get each other just rolling, laughing, and we have a lot of fun at work.
But I'm not saying you don't have fun with your crew. I'm saying if you posted an ad, if you went looking for help, no one is posting the fun part that I've seen.
How would you do that?
How? Why can't you sell the job? So, okay, I'm going to hire a new apprentice for my company, okay? Apprentice wanted to help transform households and lives. Come be a part of making a difference through, I don't know. You change the words around and sell, look, what the most exciting part for me is when the homeowner comes home after being gone all day and they see the floor down and there's not even any baseboards. The whole room's not even complete. And they're like, oh my gosh, I love it. And they get a big smile on their face. That's rewarding. That's the part I love. It makes me excited to go to work because I know I'm going to make somebody else's day even better than it was. But that's not the way people are advertising the job. And I think that's one of the things that needs to change. You're not going to attract the younger generation in without somehow changing how we advertise. Look, telling someone that they have to work hard and bust their butt, but there's a reward at the end of the tunnel, that works for Gen X. That's fine. But that doesn't work for the younger millennials and the Gen Z kids. That's not what they're interested in. They want the benefits. They want the vacation. They want a 401k. They want to know that they're going to be taken care of, and they want to do something that they're going to be rewarded at, man. They grew up with participation trophies.
Yeah.
Why are we trying to do it our way instead of meeting them at their level? I'm not saying give them a participation trophy, but a high five goes a long way.
Well, and yeah, I get it. And it's, I kind of think it's getting there. Like I know on the hardwood side, there's machines that have come out that make hardwood easier to sand, and they actually use that as an advertisement that you can have a helper come in with zero experience and put them on this machine after an hour or two training, and they can run this machine. I personally don't really like that. I think that, there are some jobs that you have to put in hard work in order to get high quality.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess as I've grown older, I've also realized that it's not always hard work. Sometimes it's smart work, and there are ways to work smarter than harder. But you got to be able to do it all. Like, you can't just come in and run that one machine and make everything pretty. There's so much more.
Mm-hmm. There's still skills behind it. I'm with you.
So I think in order to learn those skills and be able to become like really good at it, then you can't cater to them. Like, it's hard work, and it's more than just hard work. It's education. Like, you know, I know that once they get out of high school and they're like, oh, I'm done learning stuff now. I mean, if you go do any other trade, if you go to plumbing or electrician, you got to go to school and learn stuff. So why is it different for flooring? Like, you should still learn industry standards and, you know, stuff like that. And that's not something that you just learn on the job site. That's something that you have to do on your own, as far as whether it's studying at home or reading forums or watching videos. You know, going to classes, that's something that the company should provide.
Oh man, that's probably a whole nother topic.
But you know, like I said, I think going to the classes, that was the best thing I did in my career. Was once at first class, man, I was hooked, and I'm planning on signing up for one. I'm hoping there's one this year. I really wanted last year, and then COVID hit us.
Yeah.
But I was wanting to go to do another sand and finish school. So
I'm with you, man. I got one in early January before surfaces, and then this whole thing hit, and I was hoping to get another one in by the end of the year, but I don't think that's going to happen. So the classes make a difference.
The expo, I was wanting to do the expo too, man, and that was.
I should have gone to the expo. My mother-in-law lives outside Milwaukee, but you know that was canceled, and all kinds of fun stuff has happened. So,
but you know that opened up a whole nother world, because I think if that didn't happen, the Zoom meetings that we do, and those are awesome.
Correct. I think it changed a lot of ways in how we connect and talk with each other and get information. It's not just putting it on a Facebook forum anymore.
Yeah, so it's fun. It's fun right now. I mean, I'm having fun. I don't know how you tell new people like how it's fun, but I guess it just comes down to the person. Either it is or it isn't. I don't know.
Like I said, you got to show them the fun. Stop talking about how it's hard. Show them the fun. Bring them in. I don't know. That's all. Everyone's going to have their own thing. You know, I'm still trying to, there's days where I don't think Brad's excited, and there's other days where I can tell he's excited. And so like, when do you introduce him to things and get him things? So I'm going to bring him, I just got my Hardwood Floor Business or Hardwood Floors magazine the other day, and I haven't looked through it yet. So I need to look through that. And then I was going to bring it to him and say, here you go, man, look through this, see if there's anything that like get you excited about the industry.
So, you know, and that's one of the things in the Hardwood magazine, like right there on the first couple pages, they have a little mini test every month of that. And I remember, like, when I was working with my dad, we'd always go to lunch, and we'd always take a newspaper during lunch. We would play the work jumble. And that's the only reason we would take the newspaper. But since the newspaper was there and we were doing the jumble, every now and then I would look through it and, you know, see something and read something. If you can get them hooked on something that's there every month, whether it's the quiz or the caption thing or this time in history, to where it's repetitive, set into their schedule, that when they see the magazine, they automatically open to that page because they want to see that every time, maybe they'll see something in the table of contents that's like, ooh, that looks like it might be a good article, or, ooh, a new machine here, you know? Repetition is something that you can use to train people. If you can get them on a thing where they're doing the same thing over and over again, then you can try to sneak something else in there on top of it. It might come to a point where he's reading the magazine cover to cover every month. I doubt it, but
no, I'm with you. I like it. Well, go ahead.
I used to do that. I used to get the magazine and open it up just to do the quiz and then shut it. But then there were some days where I would actually try to look at something else because it caught my eye. So
yeah,
it worked for me on myself.
No, I like it. Like, I like reading all the like lawyer articles and stuff on why floors failed and who's responsible and all of that stuff. I find all those really interesting. So I'm with you.
Yeah.
There's something in it for everybody. You just got to find what it is, and you might find something else to look at as you're perusing it, and might find yourself addicted to something. But sadly, Josh, we have come to our time. So is there anything you want to plug? You got like an Instagram people can follow you on, or you got anything like that going on?
Yeah, I am on Instagram at Hansman Josh. I'm kind of new to it, so I'm trying to throw up as much as I can at once, and so I'm throwing up all my stuff from the past on it as much as I can to try to fill it up with some fun stuff to see. Yeah. I'm also, I'm on Facebook too. I love Facebook.
All right.
But I love helping people. I got people that I got other companies, even local, and they'll call me and ask me questions. If I've seen this or I've seen that. I love answering questions and helping people out. Sometimes I have answers, sometimes I don't, but that's something I really like going to. So.
No, that's great. If you need to know how to spray like tea oil on your non-tannin wood to put tannins in it and cut a like cardboard jig out so you can airbrush it because you can't just spray the whole floor just one piece at a time, call Josh. He'll help you out. I promise.
Yeah, I'm still experimenting on that, but I'm getting closer.
No, you know your stuff. You're definitely a great resource, and I know you enjoy talking with you. Just want to do wood floors, man. I love that. It puts a smile on my face about how excited you get.
Yes.
So awesome, man. Thanks. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming on and giving a different perspective where we can look to improve our businesses and find. We can try and find our Josh.
Yeah. I hope that there's more out there because I'd like to be able to work with somebody like that.
You want to work with yourself?
I want to work with myself. We get a lot done.
Yeah, man, that'd be great.
Good time.
No, awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kyle.
No, have a good night. That's all the time we have for this week. To keep the conversation going, head on over to the Floor Academy Facebook group. Be sure to subscribe so you can hear each and every episode. We can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and most major podcast directories. Don't forget to leave a review and let us know what you think about the show. If you would like to be a guest, have questions or feedback, you can email us at flooracademypodcast@gmail.com. You can help support the show by becoming a patron over at www.patreon.com/flooracademy. Remember to learn while you earn.